Hi my fetishes! In the first episode of Cores Count, we're going to look at the multi-threading optimization of an awesome game. This game is based upon the ep1 engine, but to be more correct, it's the ep1 6.5 because of further improvements. You already know what game I'm talking about. It's Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. First there will be the general part, and then I will give you a short introduction of the used system and the graphic settings in the game. I will show you the benchmark sequence, then we go full throttle into the benchmark results, and afterwards there will be the detailed analysis with the conclusion. I have to point out that you won't get the same results with a, for example, Core i9 7980XE with 18 cores. Skylake X is a much faster architecture than an Ivy Bridge CPU I'm using here. Older high core count CPUs will benefit more from multi-thread optimization than new ones. The ep1 engines were nearly always groundbreaking in the past, and with the ep1 6 of Doom there was another milestone last year. And now we're curious what the new ep1 6.5 engine can do with a lot of cores. If you don't know yet how this video series is structured and what to expect, I recommend you to watch the Cores Count series description video. The link is in the video description. A short mention about the used hardware. It's a dual i5 2667V2 with 64GB ECC DDR3 1600 RAM and an ASUS ROG Strix 1080 Ti to avoid GPU bottlenecking. There's no overclocking or tuning mechanism activated, except the power and temperature limit are set to max. The operating system is Windows 10 Pro with Fall Creators Update. The benchmark was performed with a resolution of 1280 by 720. All graphic settings were set to the lowest but the LOD switch. This setting stresses the CPU and therefore it was set to Ultra. Enough said. I will show you the benchmark sequence, then the benchmark results, and afterwards we're going into details. Enjoy! So, we saw some interesting results. First of all, this piece of software is awesome. Even with low core count you get some impressive results. Of course, everything below 3 to 4 threads the game will be anything but fun. Still, even with dual core and hyperthreading it runs perfectly fine. But below 4 threads you will have stuttering because of irregular frame times. But for a game with this great graphic, it's a good performance. Let's get into details. Up to 8 cores and 8 threads, the game is scaling up very good. Beyond you have gains too, but they aren't that high. According to scaling there is no real difference in using 1 or 2 CPUs, but in direct comparison with absolute numbers there are some interesting results. Up to 10 cores and 10 threads, 2 CPUs are fast on average, but the 1% low is often higher with 1 CPU. But why are the average numbers higher with 2 CPUs? It's very simple. The cause of this behavior are the turbo limits of the CPUs. If the entire workload is on one CPU, it will begin throttling very quickly. But if you split the workload in half and put it on 2 CPUs with a 50-50 ratio, it will take longer till turbo throttling kicks in. For example, 8 cores on this particular CPU will run at a maximum speed of 3.6 GHz. On 2 CPUs, the same workload will run with 3.7 GHz. We see this 100 MHz difference in the charts with a gain of about 17 FPS. Now we come to the part with a lot of room for interpretation. In the area below 4 threads there are some interesting results. Splitting the workload in half for 2 CPUs is slower than performing it on 1 CPU. But why are 2 CPUs slower in this case? My assumption is the far higher communication latency between the cores of 2 CPUs in comparison of the latency within one CPU package. You can't make a general statement if a workload runs faster on 1, 2 or more CPUs. It depends on the software and its optimization if it's running well on more than one CPU, or you will have trade-offs. Now, what about hyperthreading? Hyperthreading is good up to 6 cores, 12 threads. But beyond this point the engine doesn't like it very much. Out of the box the game takes all it gets. The last column shows the figures about the Windows scatter with 16 cores and 32 threads, and the performance is not really convincing. Let's move on to the frame times comparison. As you can see, there are some hiccups. I assume they're error of measurement. The average frame times are excellent and a 1% low are in a good bandwidth, you can't complain about it. The last topic of the analysis is the workload distribution of the game. The more consistent the workload distribution of the game is, the more it benefits from additional cores, respectively threads. As you can see, Wolfenstein 2 has a very even workload distribution pattern. Kudos to the developers. It's conclusion time. To about 10 cores and 10 threads, the scaling is very good. More doesn't make any difference. Hyperthreading is fine up to 6 cores, 12 threads. Afterwards you will get lower results and deactivation should be considered. More is better, but only to a certain point. You can run the game with 4 threads and you have perfectly good frame times to play. I played an Überkommandant mission with 2 cores, 4 threads on one CPU and there was no stuttering at all. And that's below the minimum requirements of an i5-3570. You have to keep in mind, this is only a simulation. The game used dedicated cores and OS, including background processes, ran on other dedicated cores. On a common PC, the game has to share the CPU with OS and background processes. Especially the 2 cores, 4 threads benchmark is biased because of the mentioned dedicated cores. So, what do you think? Did you expect these results and better performance with 2 instead of 1 CPU? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you want to buy Wolfenstein 2 or any other game and want to support me, use the G2A ref link in the video description. Thank you. If you liked this video, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. I will see you in the next one. Have a good day.